Yeah, but I think slowly, hopefully that goes back. I know the numbers are increasing now again, but then, as I said, I really think we need to get used to it, to live with this cold, because I think it's going to be the future. It's not going to disappear like this.
I'm Dani Valent, and this is Dirty Linen, the podcast that takes the issues the hospitality industry finds hard to air in public and shakes them all about. This fortnight on Dirty Linen, we are travelling all around the world. And I think when a lot of Australian people think about food and restaurants, their minds turn to London. It's a place that a lot of Australian chefs have travelled to. There's a lot of English chefs in Australia. It's a place that we definitely feel connected to in a culinary sense, as well as a cultural sense for many of us. Tomas Lidakevicius was the executive chef at Jason Atherton's City Social. But in the pandemic, he has done something very interesting. He's partnered with a stallholder in Borough Market at a stall called Turnips, and he's opened an al fresco dining space. Tomas, thank you so much for having a chat with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, it's an absolute pleasure. Tell us a little bit about Turnips.
So everything started while I was in the city. The Charlie took over his parents, because the parents ran the business, or they're still running, but then Charlie now is in charge. It's their son. So they ran the company for 25 years in Borough Market. So there's a successful business going there. And then, they were supplying us vegetables and fruits and all the best produce we can get. And then when the pandemic hit us, I was helping him out, doing some videos, doing some promotions on Instagram. So he used to send me some veg boxes. I make a video or post something. So it helped, the both side helped for us. So I had something to do. And then, of course, getting some amazing produce sent over. And then, what happened, just one of the days, probably was still a month going in a pandemic. I think it was still locked down. And then Charlie rings me up during the day, super happy. He was like, Tommy, I was like, yeah, what's happening, mate? And he was like, oh, Tommy, I've got an idea. I was like, what is this? And then he said, let's do the restaurant. I was like, what do you mean the restaurant? And then he said, yeah, let's do this in a stall and outside. I was like, he was like this, Tommy, are you in? And I had no time to say something, not even thinking. It's like, yeah, let's do this. And that's how we start going. And then literally we had 2 weeks to buy a plate, find the glasses, find every single bit for the restaurant to open the restaurant in 2 weeks' time, which was absolutely challenging. Actually, I lost 14 kilos in 2 weeks, probably.
Ah, that's how you do it. just decide to open a restaurant in 2 weeks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this was really a big challenge, probably, and then it's still going to challenge, because now we start kicking off completely. So, it's
wow. Great. So track back a little bit. So, I mean, you had to leave the job that you were doing at City Social, executive chef. It's a Michelin-starred restaurant. I mean, I know, tell me about the situation there and in the city of London with restaurants at the moment.
So at the moment, it's still quite dark days, I would say. As I'm aware, City Social is opening 1st of September. And a couple of restaurants, a couple 2-star, 1-star restaurants, they already start opening up. But then it's still not in a full swing. Some restaurants outside London, they're not even open yet. They're going to think and open middle of September or October, because it's still going. I mean, all the offices in the central London, they're still shut. They're running maybe with a 20% occupancy. So it's quite, it's still not. If you come out in the central London, like Monday, Tuesday, there's still a ghost town, to be honest. There is already, the nightlife is start getting back, like, almost to normal, kind of. But then, office work, I don't know what is the reason not coming back to work, but then, if they can go to the pubs in the nighttime and then they don't want to go to work in the daytime, not really sure what's this about. But it's still, you can feel it, even the trains or tubes. Before that, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, no chance to have a seat or even to come in the first train. But now, trains are empty and the restaurant situation is still not on the best side yet, actually.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's understandable. Those city restaurants in London are so dependent on the people working in the city, but also for tourists, right?
Yeah, there's no tourists, actually. So, like, even our place now, literally, we got all the locals coming in, or people who heard of us, and then, some Instagrams or whatever, the social media is, but then most of them, they are locals. We already got a couple who came every single weekend to eat with us.
Really?
Yeah, we already, they said, why to cook when we got this to next door? So yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a lot. So literally now, we literally waiting for the tourists to come in as well. But at the moment, to be honest, it's already good.
Okay, well, that's great. I mean, it's so interesting around the world. We're seeing the cities that are open, it's really they're open for their locals, and it's such a different flavour to some of these world cities. We were talking to someone in San Sebastian this week, and she's like, "It's just the Spanish people here. We don't know how to deal with them." So it's funny to have London for the people that live there.
Yeah, it's true now. So it's absolutely compare what was 5 6 months ago compared to now is a day and night. I think like this pandemic made people to go back where they want to, or then literally understand them what they want to do in their lives. What actually happened to me as well, probably most of the people as well, who really took this on board and then start thinking outside the boxes what you want to do with your lives. Some people probably sat at home like vegetables doing nothing, but then for quite a bit of people, I think they made life-changing moves, I would say. To be
Yeah, I think
honest,
that's really
yeah,
really true.
to be honest, when I was, let's say, if you're in a Michelin-starred restaurant running a place like this with Jason, and then someone gonna call you and say, "Yeah, do you want to do some food in a vegetable stall?" You'll be like, "Seriously, man?" But that's the thing. When stuff like this happens, you start seeing many more things outside that, outside the line. So that's that thing that makes people change.
Well, it's so interesting. I mean, what was it about these times that made you rethink what you wanted to do with your career?
Even when before the call from Charlie, you're already sitting at home because I've got two little girls and I've got a wife, and then all the time, you're spending time with them, actually seeing them growing. Because usually when you're here, I'm not sure how, as I heard in Australia, is a bit better working hours, and then the culture of the working in the kitchen, I think, is much better than here. But here, when you're spending, you do five doubles, so that means you do 80 hours a week or something like this. You do that, and then you don't see your kids growing properly, and then you wake up when they're still sleeping, and then you leave and you come back, they're sleeping, and then you see them just a couple of days a week, and now during the pandemic was every single day you wake up with them, you play with them, you bring them for a nap, and then cooking with them, and that was absolutely great. So these little things start make me think like what I'm gonna do in the future when I need to go back to the big kitchens again. Yeah, and this things happen now, so it's kind of showed me you can do something different, enjoy completely what you're doing, and then still have a family time, which is I think
Wow.
important. Yeah, most important thing to make the other things happening. So if it's bad at home, it's not nice at home, or you can't see the kids and stuff like that. So you're not 100% with the job because you always back thinking something. Oh, I need to do this and this. But when it comes to this level now, you enjoy it absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much pressure with those Michelin star restaurants. You're always, looking to retain the star, to get the next star, the next review. I guess there is such a treadmill, but I mean, you must have found satisfaction in that as well. How did you sort of balance that?
So I really think this is the obsession. This is obsession of the Michelin guide. Don't get me wrong. These places, they make you successful as I don't know what. When you get a star, literally doors doesn't close, and then it's absolutely amazing. And then, but it's not everything about the Michelin stars we understood now. Don't get me wrong. Now we're in a market where I'm still producing and probably even better than I used to do in a Michelin star restaurants. Because now I've got the best produce you can get. These restaurants not even touching produce like this because they never knew about it. So this is a lots of different things you're using now. So let's say potatoes. We used to now at the moment is a Normandy potatoes from France, from Little Island, and then when you are in or let's say any restaurant, if you're not knowledgeable enough, you're just basically Googling or see what else doing, and maybe you're going to give a call to the supplier, ask for the potatoes, and then what you're going to get is just a little new potatoes because you don't want to pay too much for that. because they will send you an invoice for 3 kilo box for 25 quid and say, listen, mate, what is this about? And then they say, yeah, these are amazing, but yeah, you're going to tell them this is just a potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So this is how I started working. And now I understood that, the quality where you can get literally in a supplier's market is absolutely amazing. And when you are in a restaurant, you're trying to run the cost as low as down. And then even as Michelin-starred restaurants, yes, you're getting, let's say, your meat more expensive or more, the fish better, but then the vegetables, usually you leave kind of, on a side dish. It's not completely, full on in vegetables. You're like, yeah, it's a veg, it's just a veg. But actually, now I start thinking the other way around.
Wow.
That makes you the whole dish. Yeah, it is crazy.
So these dishes that you're doing at Turnips, they're very much veg is at the centre of the each dish concept?
Yeah, that's the thing. We try to do this. So every single snack, let's say, is the vegetable base. Is no dairy. Is no kind of sometimes dairy a little bit in a pure or something. But then we're trying to as much give a freshness and actual taste. Just now we had just radishes just with the blue cheese foam, and then yes, there's a bit of blue cheese, and then but still those two marriage so together, and you literally what you do, you just put on a plate nicely on a napkin, giving so much effort, to cut them nicely, to prep the leaves perfectly, and put them on a black napkin so they look, they're made for that, and then so much work goes into it. When you think about it, it's just a radish. You can chuck them in a bowl and just do that. But then again, those extra details, extra miles, people appreciate that. And then every single dish, we were even thinking to do completely vegetarian menu, but then again, people want to try some meat, want to try some fish. So then it's quite. It would be, I think, narrowing our clientele, base.
Yeah.
So now we just go.
Does it feel brave to strip it back so much and to do dishes that are so focused on vegetables?
No, I don't think so. Actually, it's more, as I said to everybody else, is much more hard work going into the prep vegetable the right way, because it's not just boiling it and, not just put in a pan or roast it or boil it. It's so much more going about it. You can treat exactly the same way as the meat or fish. You can cure it, you can hold it, you can hang it, you can do whatever you want with the vegetable. And then this is now, I think it's the most greatest time to do this. Like now, very soon we're going to start coming to the autumn season, which is going to be a lot of, big chunky vegetables. So then those ones you can do whatever you want to them. It's amazing.
And how are the customers responding? Like, how are they responding to this sort of this produce focused menu?
The response is absolutely brilliant. Start from the actual, location, from actual project idea, sitting under the London Bridge and then having the meals. Because we've got two places. We've got the small plates, and then we've got a kind of a fine dining restaurant coming out with the food truck. So there's two little places, and every single one is just, even you passing the road to come from one place to another place, people just stopping you and start talking to you, and you're like middle of the service, it's like, yeah, thank you so much talking to me, but then you're so busy in there, and then it's just, but again, people coming after the dinner, because the thing is, what we do, we're coming out with every single course as chefs, and then we're explaining where the produce coming from. We're talking most about the vegetables, and then we just add, it's a bit of mackerel, coming from the North Sea, or then a little bit of Mongolica pork coming out from Hungary. But then the idea is to highlight the vegetables and give them more story about them. So people absolutely loving it.
It sounds, the way you're talking about it, it sounds like you're very much more connected to the produce than you were in the restaurant, but you're also really connected to the customers, the people who are eating it.
Yeah. This is because before, you're stuck in a kitchen. And that's it. So, you're pumping out whatever covers, from 60 cover restaurant to 200 like was in the city. And then you'll no even chance to think about leaving the past during the dinner service. So if someone asks you to come out, then it's easier to get them in the kitchen, once a month if someone wants to. But then most of the time, let's say in a places like this, they're all the business people. And then to be honest, they don't really care about, what they eat. They just come in, do their business and they leave. And then here people literally coming for the experience, for the location, for the produce, and for the us chefs, and then in front of house. So this is what makes us actually to be more happier than you're locked in the kitchen. now you see people, they come talk to you, they take pictures with you. It's amazing.
Because when I think about Borough Market, I think about just incredibly beautiful produce, just laid out so beautifully, and just there's just like little poetic little tomatoes, and the radishes you're talking about, beautifully shaped courgettes. Like, it must be really inspiring to have to be so close to the produce and to be able to create your dishes with that bounty around you.
Yeah. Even, with my chefs, let's say myself already, I'm starting to understand the way I'm going to work and I want to work. But then I've got, let's say, Susan, who works with me for 45 years already. I've got another guy, staying with me, not going back to the City Social, let's say. So they chose this path, which is completely unclear. We don't know, what we're going to do in the winter. Well, we kind of know what we're going to do in the winter, but we don't know how's the response going to be from people sitting still outside in the market, but then, under the heaters. And then, maybe we're going to give them some sort of a coating, so we make some barbecue pits or something like this. But we think, as you say, Borough Market is an iconic place in London, and, always been all about food. But then I think there's some little restaurants around it, but then what we do, I think we brought it up back to, to the shining space. And then the same with the chefs. Now they're absolutely enjoying it. Literally, you don't need to worry about ordering vegetables. You just come out in a stand. So people shopping, let's say you shop around, you see the chef, oh, but what can I do with this little round courgette? And then, one of my chefs or even myself, if I'm on the stand, explaining you how to prep it and what we can do with that, So this is great. And people are actually really happy. And then us, because you, out of blue, someone asks you what to do with this. It's like you come in, you're doing your things, and then someone's going to ask you, oh, yeah, what were you going to do with this courgette? And then you like, oh, okay, we can make this, and this. So, yeah,
it sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I read about your restaurant in Jay Rayner's review in The Guardian earlier this week, and what he said about that, he said, I'll just quote from him because I love his writing, "A dinky, round Provençal courgette arrives, browned and burnished until just beginning to sag. It has been sliced open, scooped out, and filled with a mess of tomatoes, basil, and breadcrumbs." Oh my goodness, that sounds so delicious. And I think partly that's because at the moment we're in the middle of winter. I haven't seen a tomato for a while.
And oh, yeah, guys, winter now.
Yeah, we're in winter. So, yeah, I'm jealous of the beautiful tomatoes that I know you'll be getting. But, the other thing that I feel when I read that out is, like, I'm a restaurant critic here in Melbourne, but I haven't reviewed a restaurant since March. It's, what do you think about the role of the food media? We've talked a little bit about Michelin stars, but what do you think about critics coming and reviewing?
Yeah, with the J, what happened, literally we were just getting ready for service, and then even the place where he came to eat, so as I said, we got two little places. So he came to the smaller plates with the courgettes and then the breadsticks and everything. So we were just literally open, because our transition between the day markets, we need to clear everything out, bring the tables and chairs together, and then set it up. We literally go like 45 minutes gap probably. Sometimes even less when the sellers in the market, they're finishing a bit later, so then it drags us back a little bit. And then everyone's like, whoa, who's that? It's Jay. And then it comes in, sits down, and we're all like, not start panicking, but then what to do, because then everybody knows him, from telly, from newspapers. We know he can break you or make you in the end, with his reviews, because he's super straightforward, and he literally thinks whatever he thinks and writes about it. And then he's like, sit down, guys, don't worry, it's fine. He comes with his wife, sat down. Actually, the first ones in a restaurant. And then, yeah, can I have the drinks? So he ordered whatever drinks. I can remember what he ordered. And then he was like, yeah, I want every single item from the menu. I was like, oh my.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then we had a Scot with the pung hair. So he's a Scottish guy. He's super, he can chat you off completely. He's the guy who chats mostly, and a great cook, and then chat at the same time. So that's really great. And then you start talking to him every single dish, because I was already start getting busy in the restaurant. So I said, okay, Scott, take care of him, and then good luck. And then after the meal, he wanted some chocolate dessert as well. So we made a little thing from the other side of the project, they really enjoyed it. Had their coffees and they left. And then after that, we got a phone call from him asking about the story of so he was talking to the Fred or Charlie's dad. Asking about the story, how everything happened, how long they've been doing this as the market. So yeah, just to get the whole story together. And then photographer came in, took the pictures, and then wow. Yeah, and then there's a lot of things now we started getting, I wouldn't say critics, but then as you see in the way in, what's the name, it's the Financial Times, in the 6 places in the world where you can have al fresco dining with the social distancing, something like this. So we're in the list of there already, and then it's just a bit PR going around, and then there's quite a few people. We had some magazines coming to it, but this is again part of the PR, which is they're coming, they're trying, and they're writing about us because as you say, it's not many things you can write now because not a lot of places opening up. We've got restaurants with the 2 stars closing down, 2 of them actually. So it's not the greatest days now. So I think everyone is hungry for an article and a good meal, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jay Rayner and some of the other critics, they're not actually scoring at the moment, which is, I suppose, a concession to the difficult times.
Yeah, of course, you can't really do that. Now you need to write something. Because we thought about it, it was like, because he can. I remember in the City Social, he absolutely destroyed us when they opened.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he literally destroyed the Social because that was a place for the suited people, kind of. It was literally made for the bankers, kind of. Yeah, so he was against this, and then we ripped them to pieces, and then but here we're like, so oh my God, we just opened, and then trying to get every single thing together, and then he comes in on the first week. We were like, oh my God, what's gonna happen now? But as always, I was saying to the child, I say, look, buddy, he can't really write something bad during these days because people trying to literally put money down, the last pennies down to make it happen, and then someone comes in, eats it, and then destroys you, and literally your business goes down. So we can't really, I don't really think this is being a human, doing these days something like this. So now this was literally a push. When was I come out on Sunday? So from Sunday by 8:30 in the morning, we already had 40 covers, and by the end of the night was 120 or something like this, just after his review coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So you felt a little bit protected, not only by your beautiful food, but also by the situation where you felt like, as a human, he wouldn't try to destroy your restaurant.
Yeah, of course. I really think, but in one way as well, destroying it, he wouldn't be destroying it for much about it, as he said. Okay, it's a pork belly and the wine, but to be honest, it's probably those 2 things because we quite confident with our produce. You can't get better than this. Maybe at least you grow in your own garden, but you can't get better than this. And we work super hard, and we've got the experiences from the best restaurants in London and then around the world, whoever worked somewhere. So it's kind of, we put all the big pluses into one. So he had to enjoy anyway. So when you think about, yeah, it's not a horrible place. Yeah, it's something.
What's not to like, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Especially in these days, everyone's thinking how to not to close restaurant, or no one's even thinking to opening something probably. But then we made a decision. Okay, let's do this because now is the possibility is now is the right time.
Yeah. The UK government has created a scheme called Eat Out to Help Out, which gives diners a 50% discount on food, up to £10 per diner, I think. And I think it's early in the week and it's running all this month. Are you part of that scheme?
Yeah, we've got it on Wednesdays. We got it on Wednesdays, and then people actually, filled up the place, and then it's great for them, it's great for us. It's great government's move because, it's a bit.
How does it actually work? Do they have a voucher, or does the government reimburse you? What happens?
Yeah, the government gives you money back later on, but then this is the so you come in, just dine in. You don't need to say anything. It depends from the place. Some places, they charge you, they don't charge you. You need to say something. But with us, and then I've been a couple places already with the family. You just get charged. So let's say if let's say us we're having a meal, and then you're spending £50, so then what you're going to pay 25 probably, 20, 25. So it's going to get everything like £10 it get you off the bill. If you spend 20, you pay 10. So I think this is absolutely great. So now people actually, when there's on Wednesdays, because we're open Wednesday to Saturday, so on Wednesdays people start, enjoying the drinks a bit more and then a bit more food. Because everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's £10, £10, but then actually, they ended up spending a bit more, but they're still in the end they're getting a discount, and it feels much better. £10 is extra drink or extra course or extra snack is amazing. And especially if your table of
Yeah, that's fantastic.
4 or 5 people, this is already 50 quid of the bill, which is quite a lot.
Definitely. What other government support has there been for restaurants through the pandemic?
So some places they try to not to pay rent, but then again, who were under the individually owned places, some people, didn't care. They said, I need my rent and that's it. But then, the furlough scheme, of course, that was for the whole Britain. Everyone got paid who, fit into the gap of being employed by the certain amount of days, and then how it was. So this was a big help to everyone. I think without this would be absolutely disaster. And then talking about the industry, I think there's not that much something going on. So this one, the percentages discount, and then I think for the moment that's what we've got. But then they're encouraging always people to come out and eat outside, because before that, there was a tradition every Sunday go for the roast, but then during the pandemic, everyone was making their roast at home, so people got used to it actually, and they understood like, oh, if a whole family going to go for the roast, we're going to pay a certain amount of money, but then at home we can make for 15 quid. People start saving a bit more, and then he's changed a little bit, but I think that is going to be a new normal.
Yeah, I guess it's the same here as well. People have learnt more about cooking at home, but I think at the same time they're also appreciating restaurants so much because, in Melbourne at the moment we're in lockdown. No one's going to the restaurant, so I feel like I'm gonna go to a restaurant 3 times a day for the rest of my life. Yeah, but it's that balance. What are the actual restrictions for restaurants in London at the moment in terms of distancing and density?
So distancing, there is 1 meter apart, back to back, when people are sitting. So you can't sit, closer than meter apart when you, chair back to the back. And then before the entering the restaurant, you got hostess taking your temperatures, and then let's say if you're a table of 2 or 4 or 6, I think 6 is maximum. You can, one of us will have to leave the phone number for tracing if something happens, during that day in that area. So then, the government will ask for the people who dined with us and then try to track where it comes from. So this is the most, relevant thing to do. And then there's not much, there is a COVID, it's not a test, I would say. So the restrictions where you're coming in, even in the market, there's like a lines drawn. So coming in, coming out, it has to be 2 different entrances and an exit. And the same, when people standing in the queues, let's say it has to be a gapping. But to be honest, no one is that following that anymore. I think like markets, so like Saturday is packed like back in the day.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. I think people got, they're still wearing masks. I would say 70% maybe wearing masks, and then the rest of them, not. And then, but I think slowly, hopefully that goes back. I know the numbers are increasing now again, but then, as I said, I really think we need to get used to it, to live with this COVID, because I think it's going to be, the future. It's not going to disappear like this. I think when it's here already, then it's just going to stay. And then, unfortunately, I think it is what it is. There will be a cure for that, but it's still going to be here.
Well, given that, how do you see the future rolling out for restaurants in London?
I think by next year, I would say, February, March, probably is going to go back to normal. if carry on like this now, slowly and surely everyone start opening up, and then people start feeling more safe coming out because every single restaurant gets ready for them. Everyone's wearing the mask, and then sanitizers everywhere. I don't know how much that helps because I'm not going to go into the details against the COVID because I'm against it anyway. But then I don't know how much I think by the next year people will feel more safe if everything goes this way. Well, I mean the good way. Yes, it's increasing a little bit, but then I really think by next year should go back to normal.
Yeah, well, I hope you're right. And you plan to still be there in Borough Market serving food in amongst the produce?
Yeah, that's the whole idea, because we started as the pop-up, and then but they're always back of plan to do permanent thing. And then at the moment we started thinking more. So we've got, as I said, we've got the other side of the road, the fine dining place. So that we're going to move from end of September, from 1st of October probably. We're going to move in in the actual stand. So daytime you can enjoy a small plate, and then nighttime we're going to split that a little bit. So then let's say 30-40% would be small plates, and then 60% would be fine dining experience. So we kind of fit everyone under the Turnips stand roof, and that we're going to give a different dining experience. Still sitting outside in the winter because there's no wind coming through. We've got walls around, so yeah, it's something different. Hopefully that will work.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely fantastic. Thomas, let's finish off by you telling me what you're really excited about cooking this week. What produce is looking beautiful?
So this week we're gonna have absolutely amazing grapes, and then we're gonna have still going really strong figs from Provence, and then maitake mushrooms. That's gonna be, I think, changing our potatoes. And I think this dish I'm looking really into it because I'm going to do with the egg yolk. That's, and then monkfish. So I know it's not vegetable, but then I'm looking forward for monkfish, for baby monkfishes, because they're great at the moment. So yeah, these are things we're going to work on. We already got ideas what we're going to do. So tomorrow, some guy's going to get ready one thing, and then we're going to work on those dishes and then start rock and rolling them on Thursday.
It sounds really inspiring. I can see those grapes all plump and juicy waiting for you. So I'm going to keep an eye on your Instagram and see what you do with them. Thank you so much for giving us the word from London town. It's really fantastic to chat to you, and great to hear about you doing something so positive in difficult times, and something that sounds like it's got a really promising future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks for everyone.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about. We spend a week thrashing around each issue, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This is a Deep in the Weeds production.